What separates the truly successful from those who merely dream of success? In a small classroom in Hangzhou, China, an English teacher earning $12 a month began unraveling this mystery. Today, that same teacher is Jack Ma, the visionary who transformed global commerce and built a $500 billion empire. His journey wasn't just about what he did, but primarily about what he consciously avoided doing. Prepare for a transformative journey through the 8 habits that, according to Jack Ma, are the silent killers of your prosperity dreams. First poison of prosperity: spending first, saving later. The habit that transforms abundance into scarcity. Imagine your money as a garden. Most people pick all the flowers as soon as they bloom, leaving the garden empty. In 2005, during a crisis at Alibaba, Jack Ma observed something fascinating. His most successful executives shared one common trait. They treated saving as a sacred ritual, not a casual option. "The money you don't see is the money that will make you rich," Ma said at a conference in Singapore. In a study of over 10,000 millionaires, 80% started with the pay yourself first rule. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep. Ma reveals that in Alibaba's early years, even with scarce resources, the company maintained an untouchable reserve. When everyone was spending on marketing, we were saving. When the internet bubble burst in 2000, we were among the few with capital to survive. Second poison of the entrepreneurial soul: procrastination, the silent thief of your dreams. In 1995, during his first trip to the United States, Jack Ma had his first encounter with the internet. While others observed, he acted. In 1999, while experts said China wasn't ready for e-commerce, he launched Alibaba. "If you wait until everyone sees the opportunity, you're already too late," he reflects. Ma tells a revealing story. In 2003, during the SARS epidemic, while companies paralyzed their operations, he gathered his team in his apartment. In 3 days, they developed Taobao, now China's largest e-commerce platform. Procrastination is like a credit card. The fun comes first, but the bill, with interest, comes later. In his lectures, Ma often does an exercise. He asks people to calculate how much productive time they really have in their lives. Subtract the time you sleep, the time you spend on social media, the time you waste procrastinating. What's left? That's the time you have to build your empire. He developed a technique called the 3-second decision. If something can be done in 3 seconds, do it immediately. If it requires more time, plan it immediately. But never, ever postpone the decision to start. Third poison of achievement: complaining without action, the symphony of those who choose to be victims. In 2002, when eBay entered the Chinese market with all its force and billions of dollars, local entrepreneurs panicked. Industry meetings turned into complaint sessions. Ma recalls attending one of these meetings and doing something unexpected. He thanked eBay for their presence. "They didn't come to destroy us," he said. "They came to educate us about what we need to improve." While others wasted energy complaining about unfair competition, Ma and his team obsessively studied Chinese consumer behavior. They discovered that Chinese people loved bargaining, something eBay didn't offer. They implemented a live chat system on Taobao, enabling real-time negotiations. Within 3 years, eBay left the Chinese market. "Complaining is like sitting in a rocking chair," says Ma. "It keeps you busy but takes you nowhere." Instead, he instituted the solution rule at Alibaba. For every problem presented, 3 possible solutions had to be proposed. "Problems are like gifts wrapped in ugly paper," he jokes. "Most people only see the wrapping and throw away the gift." Fourth poison of financial independence: relying on a single income source, the illusion of security in a world of change. In a historic Harvard lecture, Jack Ma revealed something surprising. "In my early years, I didn't have one job. I had 7 different income sources. I taught English in the morning, did translations in the afternoon, sold small items on weekends, guided tourists, and still found time to learn programming at night. People called me crazy, but I called it building bridges while others dug trenches." The Alibaba Group today isn't just an e-commerce company. It's an ecosystem with over 20 different companies, from digital payments to cloud computing. When one door closes, you need to have 9 others already open, Ma philosophizes. In 2020, when the pandemic affected traditional retail, Alibaba Cloud grew 59%, offsetting losses in other sectors. Fifth poison of evolution. Avoiding calculated risks. The paralysis that disguises itself as prudence. In 1999, 18 friends gathered in my small apartment. 17 told me I was crazy to leave my stable job to start an internet company in a country where less than 1% of the population was online. Ma smiles telling this story. The 18th slept through the entire meeting. He became our first investor. Calculated risk isn't a leap in the dark. It's a studied jump. When Ma decided to compete with eBay, he did something extraordinary. He mapped 100 possible ways to fail. Knowing your failure points gives you 100 opportunities for success, he teaches. Alibaba offered its services for free for 3 years, a risk that burned millions in capital but built an unshakable user base. Sixth poison of growth. Ignoring continuous learning, the silent arrogance that turns masters into dinosaurs. In 2018, at 54 and with billions in the bank, Jack Ma surprised the world by enrolling in a sustainable development course at Harvard. People ask me why a billionaire still needs to study. I replied, that's exactly why I became a billionaire. On his desk, Ma keeps a notebook where he writes down 3 new things he learns every day, a habit he's maintained for 30 years. During Alibaba's construction, Ma instituted the 430 University, learning sessions that began before sunrise. While our competitors slept, we studied their moves, learned from their mistakes, and planned our next steps. This culture of continuous learning transformed Alibaba into an innovation machine. In the 21st century, it's not the big fish that eats the small fish. It's the fast fish that eats the slow fish, Ma often quotes. In 2016, he surprised his team by spending a month studying blockchain and artificial intelligence. Knowledge ages like milk, not wine, he warns. The expiration date is getting shorter and shorter. Seventh poison of personal evolution. Keeping negative people around. The energy vampires that drain your dreams. In 2003, Alibaba was on the brink of bankruptcy. Ma gathered his team and did something radical. He fired all employees who started their sentences with, "It won't work." Technical competence is important, he explains, but positive energy is non-negotiable. You can teach skills, but you can't install optimism. Ma developed what he calls the concentric circles theory. Your life is like a shooting target. At the center, you can only have people who multiply your energy. Each circle outward can have progressively less positive people. The negative ones? They stay so far out that you can barely hear them. At Alibaba, he instituted the positive echo rule. For every problem presented, the person must present 2 possible opportunities. Negative people are like black holes. They suck not just your energy, but also your possibilities. In important meetings, Ma had a curious ritual. He asked everyone to share a recent victory before starting discussions. Eighth and most lethal poison of success, giving up easily, the self-imposed defeat that disguises itself as realism. The story Jack Ma likes to tell most isn't about his successes, but about his rejections. I was rejected 10 times by Harvard. I tried to join the police. I was the only one rejected out of 24 candidates. At KFC, 23 people applied. 22 were accepted. I was the only one rejected. Some call this failure. I call it persistence training. In 1999, Ma visited 30 potential investors for Alibaba. All said no. After the 30th rejection, I gathered my team and said, "Great, now we know 30 ways not to get investment. Let's figure out the 31st way, and this time it will work." This almost stubborn resilience became part of Alibaba's DNA. Ma developed what he calls the Chinese bamboo methodology. Chinese bamboo is watered for 5 years without showing any apparent growth. In the 5th year, it grows 25 meters in 6 weeks. The question is, did it take 6 weeks or 5 years to grow? People who give up easily only see the 6 weeks, not the 5 years of preparation. These 8 poisons aren't just habits to avoid. They're daily choices that define your trajectory. As Jack Ma always says, today is difficult, tomorrow will be more difficult, but the day after tomorrow will be beautiful. The problem is that most people give up tomorrow. Look at your life now. How many of these poisons do you allow to circulate in your veins? The good news is that just as poisons have antidotes, negative habits can be transformed into catalysts for success. Jack Ma wasn't born a billionaire. He transformed into one, decision by decision, habit by habit. The real test isn't in how many times you've read this list, but in how many of these habits you're willing to eliminate starting now. Because in the end, as Ma always emphasizes, your chances of success are directly proportional to your willingness to unlearn what limits you. If an English teacher earning $12 a month managed to transform himself into one of the most influential men in the world, imagine what you can do when you eliminate these poisons from your life. The future belongs to those who have the courage to be anti-fragile, who transform poisons into fuel for success. The question now is no longer, what did Jack Ma do? Zrenya, but what will you do from now on? Because as he always says, tomorrow isn't about what happens to you, it's about what happens because of you. Your moment is now. Your transformation begins today. And your success story, well, it's waiting for you to stop poisoning yourself and start strengthening yourself.